Showtime.
Good morning, guys. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. Today, we're going to talk about the things you absolutely shouldn't do when you buy sub 2. You know, most people spend all their time telling you all the things you should do. We're going to twist this around a little bit. There's a few things you shouldn't do. And we're going to talk about that today when we're back in 45 seconds. Good morning, everybody. Great to see y'all this morning. Want to remind you first, before we even get started, to share this live stream for the drawing today.
Well, let's put that little thing up there.
Yeah, you're going to put that in there. I don't know. You got it somewhere?
I don't know what it is. I'll find it.
Yeah, it's in here. All right. Man, we're just not super techy. I thought Jodi.
Well, you know, we move these little things around in here. I can't find it.
All right, everybody saying good morning. That's great. So while she's looking for that, we're going to say good morning to everybody. Let's see. Gosh, John, good to see you. John from Northern Kentucky. Everybody, if you're on here today, say good morning. Let us know where you're from. There's Matt Smith. We don't know where Matt is. Matt's in a cave somewhere. He keeps it top secret. I don't know where Matt's at. Have you ever heard Matt say where he's from?
I don't know. I feel like it's like Vegas or something. I don't know. I might be wrong.
There's Joyce in Bryant, Arkansas. Good to see you. Charlie Clifton, real estate agent excelente in Little Rock down there somewhere. Michael Blythe. Good to see you, Michael. Where are you at, Michael? Westchester, Ohio. Okay.
We got a big crowd this morning.
Yeah. Bill Walston, the mountains of East Tennessee.
I love those mountains.
We're going to be in that area.
Yeah.
We're going to actually be leaving a week from today, heading that way. We're going to be in Gatlinburg for our Sub 2 Max Mastermind. We're going to meet about 25 of our students there.
Well, look at how I had a big little shred of memory that worked.
Yeah.
I must have heard it somewhere.
Okay. I live in a cave in Vegas. Okay. That's cool. Okay. So out there we're going to be there in East Tennessee. Well, I don't know. That's Central Tennessee, I guess Gatlinburg is.
I got to know this. This is Bryant. Are you from Bryant, Arkansas? Bryant from Bryant, Arkansas. Is that true?
Yeah, that's
cool. I don't know all the cities in Arkansas.
Yeah, I don't either. Let's
own that town.
Matt loves the mountains. Yeah, we do too. I'll tell you this. We actually I don't know. I'm getting off topic here. So
that's okay.
I'm going to talk about this house in Utah. We talked to a seller in Utah yesterday, and that was willing to sell $1 million house with seller financing for $50,000 down. But also is interested in doing a lease option with it. I believe we could get in that house for $10,000 up front. That's pretty amazing. That's another story for another day.
I would like to live in Utah in a way, but
right.
House, even though it was $1 million, it's kind of like what a $500,000 house is here.
Right.
So you can get a lot more house for your money here.
It's huge. It was
5,000
square feet. It was very nice.
It is.
She's pretty anxious. I told her I would send her over a letter of intent.
She's kind of knocking on your door, isn't she?
And we've been talking about it. She's already texted me wanting to know, good morning. I was just wondering, I hadn't heard back from you. They've already bought another house. They're super motivated people. But man, yeah, $1 million house for $10,000. Can't beat that.
Well, making a $4,000 or $5,000 extra payment, something like that, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've got I think a 3.8 interest rate mortgage on $1 million house. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Who else we got in here today? Kevin Strong. Good to see you, Kevin. Kevin's up there keeping people safe in Washington. Good
He
to
said,
see
yes,
you.
he's from Bryant, Arkansas.
Yeah. Rafe, good to see you, man. We're going to see Rafe in a week.
He did that, but
Yeah. Tammy in Atlanta. Okay. A lot of people on here. Amanda, good to see you. Salt Lake City. Amanda, that's where this house is.
yeah.
I'll tell you, I should actually talk to you about that. This house is in Sandy. And I don't think we want to move to Utah. So we should talk to you.
Nothing against
that.
Utah. I really kind of liked, that was one of our choices before where we would want to live.
Yeah, right. Okay, let's see. Everybody share. Larry Wells, good to see you. North Idaho, Spokane. Gosh, okay. Everybody's talking today. That's great. All right. So let's get going then.
Yeah, they're chatty.
Yeah. All right. So if you're on here today, if you're listening, you are. If you're on Facebook and even if you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. You know, all those cool stats they give you in the back, they tell you that about 75% of you guys that watch these videos are not subscribers. So if we put out a new video, which we do just about every day, some tips or things for your business, you'll get a notification if you hit the notification bell. But at least subscribe to the channel so you'll get all of
But if you subscribe and don't hit the bell, I didn't really think much about this before. If you don't hit the bell, you don't get a notice that we're starting.
Right. So do that.
It's fine for maybe normal videos, but if you want to catch us live,
right,
you need to have the bell on.
For sure. And listen, and I know we've got some wholesalers here that are looking around that are interested in creative finance. And if you are, know that you can learn to do what we do and get paid for leads that don't work out for you. If you're, hitting the phones every day, cold calling, you're texting 1,000 people a day, whatever you're doing, and these people, like a gentleman, I got off the phone 10 minutes ago with a guy that just bought a house last year. Actually, he bought it in November of last year, and he's getting laid off from his job, and he just wants what he owes for his house.
He said even if it was even close to what he owed.
Right.
So he's willing to come.
Pay the difference.
He's going to come with money.
Right. So, if you run into leads like that, and you obviously you can't offer them 70 cents on the dollar.
Oh, the reason he's willing to is because it isn't that what he owes isn't all on the house. He rolled some other personal stuff in there.
Right. So if you get leads like that and you don't know what to do with them, send them to us, and you can send those to deadleadsplease.com. Go over there, register, and send them to us. We'll pay you for them, and we'll also walk you through how we're closing them. So you'll get to learn. You'll get paid to learn, basically. So if you're a wholesaler and you're doing that, send them to us. We want them. All right. So, I need to share this too. Get our free guide today. We got a free guide for you today. 7 critical tips for new investors. And you can get that at sub2deals.com/success tips. So go download that. It's absolutely free for you, and it'll tell you some things you need to do when you get started. So let's talk about the top things. I think we put 3 things. I've got a long list here of things that you don't want to do. But let's talk about the top ones. And if you guys, of course, have any questions throughout this, we're going to get to questions before we're out of here. So you guys just pop those questions in here. Jodi, if you'll keep an eye on those while we're.
I was just thinking that I look like I've been banished. I don't know who said this.
You've been banished to the outside.
But I was like, I was going to say that. I was going to tell everyone that I've been kicked out.
It's just so nice here right now.
It is really nice. It is making me a little frizzy, as you can see.
It's 70 degrees here, and it's just so nice right now. It's been so hot for so long.
And inside, it's a little dark in there, and I don't know. It's just this has more light out here, so I decided as long as it's nice out, I'm coming out.
Okay.
That was it. See, Cindy knew I got banished.
Oh, is that with Cindy? Yeah.
Cindy Craig.
No, she went outside. She wanted to go outside. She loves it like that. In fact, first Zoom I ever saw Jodi on, she was sitting outside on her patio.
Yeah.
Talking about the weather, how great it was.
Looking all cute.
Yeah, that's right. And I said, hey there. Anyway. Okay. So let's get to it. Let's talk about, you guys throw some stuff in here. What do you think are some things that you should not do? This is a little bit backwards the way we did this, really, but we'll start. We're going to go over the top 3, in my opinion, and then we've got some other ones. And if you guys bring some stuff up, we'll go over those too. Number 1, do not fail to get a title search. Okay. A title search is so important. I'll tell you, in 25 years, I've met with a lot of sellers, and you'd be surprised at the number of them that forget that they have additional liens or judgments, or even that someone else is also on title. That's hard to believe, isn't it? But it's absolutely true. And I'll tell you, it's not just me that runs into these people.
Well, tell about the one that lady called us.
Yeah. You're talking about the other investor here?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So you guys know that we go after pre-foreclosures. And one pre-foreclosure a few months ago, I think I talked about this guy already.
For a different reason, but yeah.
For a different reason. But this pre-foreclosure, of course, I went and knocked on the door. The guy that came to the door had never heard of this lady's name that was in foreclosure. And, I said, so you're renting the property? And he said, yes. And he said, I've never heard of the lady you're talking about. So we ran
research, and
when we can't find somebody at the house, we run a skip trace on them and call them. And that's what we did. We tracked this lady down. She still lived in the area. And she said, oh, I sold that house 4 years ago. And she couldn't remember who she sold it to. But turns out she had actually bought it subject to. So she sold it to this guy. So I did the next thing I could do. I tracked him down and called him and asked him about it. And he was pretty irate. I think we shared that recording in the Max group with our Max group students.
Yeah.
This guy,
he didn't like being busted, really, or whatever.
This guy sees himself as a player. He's here. He's local. And in our conversation, he said, I would have already sold that house, but I
could sell the house right now, but there's a lien.
Yeah,
it doesn't have clear title.
It doesn't have clear title. And I said, well, isn't that something you should have known when you bought it? And he said, I'm through talking to you. That's exactly what he told me. If you're on here, you're in the Max group. Hey, Ryan Gallagher, good to see you. If you're in here, if you've listened to that, you heard the conversation. He was pretty irate from the start. But if you don't check it, and I'll use a phrase, Jodi, I use phrases. Bill Walston, if he's on here, he knows what I'm talking about. If you buy it without a title search, you're buying a pig in a poke. Jodi doesn't like those phrases. She says I make those up, but I think Bill or Cindy or whoever's on here can probably tell you those are real. So number 1, make sure you don't neglect getting a title search. That's important. And if you're what I call an elite investor, if you're actually in the game, if this is how you make your living, if this is what you want to do, you should know how to do a title search. At least back to...
There's your support right there.
Back to... back to your current owner, because the truth is, with 99.999% certainty, as close as you can get, if your seller has institutional financing, there's been title work done and there's title insurance from them back. That's an absolute. So what you've really got to worry about is from the time that your seller took title until today. So you should know how to jump online or run down to the courthouse, whatever your situation is, and do that. And there's a lot of ways you can learn. The easiest way to learn is to take a class. And everybody that's down there doing that stuff, they weren't born with that knowledge. They learned how to do it somewhere. Who's that, Cindy?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You guys just make up whatever you want. Of course, I can't really talk because I make up words myself. But
so you absolutely want to do that. But the way I learned it, I got my attorney, because I got started in Georgia, and it was an attorney stays, no title companies. And I said, listen, next time you go down there to do a title work for me, can I just watch what you do? And he said, sure, come on. So that's what we did. And he showed me how to take title all the way back. I mean, 30 years. But what you really need to be able to do very quickly is to be able to do that from the point that your seller bought it forward. That's probably where most of the problems will be. So that's number one. Any questions about that, you guys? Do we have any questions? Questions about Colorado. I live right next door to Sandy. Is that what she's talking about? Gosh, there's so many comments on here today.
I forgot to put the link in. I'm going to go grab that link. So just hold it for me.
All right. What Matt say here? Wholesale, I would say you should always get an inspection or at least know what you're looking at. You know, I've never paid for a professional inspection on a house. I have a pretty good idea about what I'm looking at. If I'm remote, I'm getting pictures of the key things in the house. We get multiple pictures. In fact, I think we've got a list out there of all the photos that we get when we buy a house. Anyway, so and you know, if you've got an uncle that does repairs, that kind of things, if you're local, then you might want to do that if you don't really know what you're looking at. But most of the houses we buy are in pretty good condition. Number two, what's number two, Jodi?
Oh, hold on, I'm trying to put a link in. Hold on.
Okay. Jodi's trying to put.
Go ahead and tell without me.
Okay.
I can't do all these things at once.
We'll cover the questions here. I think this is Cindy. She's talking about Hinds County. I'm guessing that's Hinds County, Mississippi. The website's been taken over by hackers, and everything is online. So the hackers put everything online. I don't really understand that. My foreclosure is held up until their website's back online, and the attorney can do the title search. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, the hacker. So, now it's not online because it was online, but now it's not because of the hackers.
So even the title searchers can't do anything if the website's down. You know, we had one of our county's websites go down a few months ago. It was down for about 2 months.
Well, it was partially down. Yeah. They just couldn't open it. You couldn't open any documents. They had a document problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Marcus said, I would probably do my own title search. I have a great relationship with the title lady. She always pulls it for me. No, you know, whenever possible, Marcus, you want to have a professional do that for you. All I'm saying is you guys need to have the ability to take something down really fast. Let's say that the auction is tomorrow and somebody calls you tonight, okay, and you have to get online or run to the courthouse first thing in the morning. Are you going to be able to call your title lady and get that done for you? Okay.
Look at that, mid-October. Can you believe that?
So Mississippi's at a standstill until mid-October.
I mean, I can't believe that they can just like, oh well.
Yeah. All right. Crazy. So you guys, we've got 4 shares so far, only 4, and we've got a bunch of people on here. So get over there and share so you can win your sub 2 cups and notebook. All right. So number 2, don't fail to change the insurance. Or that's the double negative. Don't fail. I'm showing. Don't neglect. Don't screw up the insurance. All right. And I'm telling you, if you get around, if you're interested in stuff, if you watch all of these groups and someone asks a question, and the bigger the group, the more BS. I'm telling you, there are 1,000 answers and everyone's different. But you want to make absolutely certain that you don't forget it. And it happens to people. I'll tell you, we bought a house last Friday. I'm going to share this, okay? We bought a house last Friday, and we were actually lying in bed Friday night, and Jodi just out of the blue said,
I had this little...
Did you get that insurance fixed for that house? And I went, oh, I forgot.
We had
Okay.
to go the weekend
So
with the
so
house not insured.
we didn't have the insurance on that house technically until Monday morning when I called the guy and he got us taken care of right
Like,
away.
just no fires, no nothing, please.
Right. So it happens, and you can have all your checklists and everything else, and sometimes things just fall through. You mean to do it, you've got it on your list to do it, but you really,
You're
failing.
more talking about doing it properly for the banks, not so much being uninsured. I mean,
Well, that too.
obviously that too.
That too, because one of the things out there, the shares, you can just leave the seller's insurance in place and add yourself as an additional or something like that, and that's just not true. The primary loss payee has got to be the same person, entity, whatever that is named on the deed. That's got to be. And listen, if you guys have been around insurance for any length of time, their number one thing at claim time is deny, and they're looking for a reason to deny. So you want to make absolutely certain that however you take title, that you change that insurance. And listen, you can go the hard way if you want to. You can try to convert every insurance agent out there. And I did this when I got started because that's the way my teacher taught me to do it. Just call the insurance agent that the homeowner currently has and use your power of attorney and explain that we need to convert this policy to a landlord policy. But things have changed since then. You have to have that conversation with, if you want to try that, you have to have that conversation with a different real estate agent every time you buy a house practically. They don't understand it. And a lot of insurance companies won't insure a trust today. It's, our
Biggest
options are fewer today.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest
Yeah.
obstacle is
Right.
insurance. Like people knowing how to do it right and then trying to find an insurance company or agent that can do it right.
Right. And I'll tell you, I recently found a guy. He understands trust. He's a great agent. He reaches out to you if there's a problem. And I'll tell you this, I'm not going to share his information out here with everyone. If you want to know his name, I'll give you his name, his contact information. Just either direct message me or send me an email. Most of you guys know you can email me at william@sub2hills.com, and I will share his name. He's a great guy, easy to work with. One phone call to him, and you give him the information, and you'll have insurance. There's not a lot of BS about trust. They don't care about your additional insureds, and the policy is very affordable. So
I'm out in the wilderness alley.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
I have I don't know if anybody saw my Facebook or a couple days ago. There was a vulture sitting on this deck. A vulture.
We just had a party and had another investor over.
No,
the vulture.
this is a real vulture, a real bird vulture. I think they were like trying to say something about us. I don't really know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, I mean, are they trying to say we're dying or? William, you're so serious.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions so far? If you guys have some, go ahead and throw those in. Let's see. Best way. Let's see.
Well, that's Cindy.
Yeah, Cindy. Cindy's going to be at the Mastermind.
Right. And when you come to the Mastermind,
that's right.
That's what we talk about all the time. Is all these little nuggety things.
Best way to obtain the correct forms and contracts. Well, I'll tell you, Kingsley, you can go to Sub2 University. I've got a course on Subject 2 from A to Z. We've also got Contract to Close, which are the forms that we use with explainer videos and how to use them. But let me qualify that by saying I don't know what state you're in. And there are a lot of people that sell courses. That's a fact. And some of them are good. Some of them are complete and explain a lot of stuff to you. Some of them are not so good. And some teachers are going to fit your style and some won't. But I'll tell you this, no matter where you get your stuff, you need to make sure that you have a sit down with an attorney in your state to make sure everything's compliant. Whether it's mine, whether it's somebody else's, it doesn't matter, because nobody out there's got a course that's suitable for all 50 states and around the world. So you need to make sure that you do that for sure. I've got a link here somewhere for Sub 2 University. We'll share that too. So you can go check that out if you want to. We've got several products, and we've also got some coaching over there too. We got $7 coaching over there. That's probably the best deal on the planet for creative finance coaching. $7 a month. It's too cheap. Okay, so the top one we've got today. Now, like I said, we said we were going to have 3. We've got other ones we can talk about. Looks like we might have time unless everybody has a bunch of questions. But the very top one that you don't want to do is fail to be totally, give me the better term.
It's to be upfront.
Right. Be upfront.
Just be upfront. Be very transparent.
And very transparent with your seller on what's going to happen and what this means to them. Okay. Too many people try to sugarcoat this thing. And, oh, yeah, well, we'll absolutely have it sold in X amount of time. We'll do this. It won't be on your credit report for long. You can't make those guarantees. You just can't do it. You need to explain.
On the other hand, people that we've talked to, I can think of, I don't know, a big handful of people that have said, I really appreciate you like being really upfront and honest, along with other things we talk about, like that we need to make a profit, and that this will potentially hurt your credit, and that we may, if we don't make the payments, it will hurt your credit. We tell them all those things, and they're like, well, I appreciate you being upfront about that.
Mm-hmm. I actually listened to a video. It's been in the past week from a guy who was talking about, he said, you never, and if this is your model, that's cool. If you sign a contract with a seller, but you don't actually close on it until you find a buyer. Well, a lot of our sellers aren't in that position. They can't wait. We have to make a promise at some point to buy the house, and we're not going to leave them hanging and then drop them at the last minute. But this guy actually said that he makes no guarantees. He said even if he finds a buyer and installs a buyer and closes on the transaction, that if the buyer fails to pay at some point in the future, then the seller can expect a call from him saying, hey, you need to make this month's payment. I don't have anybody in the house to do it. I thought that was the craziest thing I'd ever heard. And I wondered how many sellers would go for something like that.
Leafs in my hair.
That was just crazy. I can't imagine ever calling my seller in the future and saying, hey, you're going to have to make this month's payment because I'm not going to do it. There's not a buyer in the house.
Well, that's honest, though.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess, but
that's tough right there.
Yeah.
Tyrell said,
it's fine that he's honest about that, but I would not allow that to be my policy.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we wouldn't have to be honest about that. I mean, that's not really worded right, but we wouldn't have to disclose that because we wouldn't do that. That's right. That's not cool.
The sellers that call us in general, and I think the ones that you want to talk to, when they finish signing papers, they want to be done. And we had a conversation. You guys aren't going to believe this. We had a conversation with a guy this past week.
We've actually talked to him off and on a few times over the last 2 months.
Right. We actually contacted his agent. We contacted him a month ago.
2 months ago.
This house, we'd already looked. It had been on the market for, I think at the time, 30 days. He owed
pretty much exactly what he was listing it for.
Right. We had a conversation.
Plus commission.
We had a conversation with him and said, hey, what was his name? I can't remember. You remember his name? Bob. Let's just say his name's Bob. We said, hey, Bob, we see you got this house for sale. It looks like you're going to have to come out of pocket to sell it. And he said, that's right. I said, best of my calculations, I think you're going to have to bring 10 or 15,000 to the closing table. He said, yeah, probably. And I said, well, what if we could buy this house from you and you not bring money to the table? And in fact, we might be able to let you
Give you a
leave
little bit.
some money.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, really? How does that work? Send me more information. And I did. And he talked to his agent who told him, scam.
The deal
Um,
killer.
and so this was a couple of months ago. So last week before, we actually contacted his agent and said, hey, listen,
We did, yeah, we decided to go direct to her and say maybe if she got double commission,
right,
she got to keep it all, she might
right,
look at it differently.
mm-hmm. And she said, she tried to give us some grief about my seller's not interested in that. And I said, well, can you present it to him? And she finally said, yeah, I will. And then 5 minutes later, she emailed us and said, he's not interested.
I don't think she talked to him at all.
But interestingly enough, a day or so after that, it went off market. And so I called the guy again. I said, I see the house is off market. And you wouldn't believe what this guy said. He said, yeah, he said, listen, he said, I got a lot of stuff going on right now. I just can't deal with it anymore. I've moved to Texas. And I'm talking to the bank about some options. And I said, well, we probably had a 10-minute conversation with this guy about why he would want to just give it back to the bank. And he tried to explain.
He doesn't ever want it to come back to him. He doesn't want to have to ever think about it again.
Right. He said, I want to know that there's finality to this. And I tried my best to explain to him that we would give him finality. I said, listen, you don't know me. I can promise you anything. You don't have any reason to trust me. But, I think we should explore another option before you give. And he said, I'm going to do a deed in lieu of foreclosure. And this is almost a brand new house. He owned it 2 years, I think. It was new. He bought it from the builder. Great house. And this guy just wasn't having it. He said, it's not that I don't trust you. He said, I just have too much stuff going on right now, and I can't chance.
I need to have it be completely done.
I need to be able to close the door on this.
Does a deed in lieu, does that hurt your credit? I don't really know.
You bet. It does. It's not as bad as a foreclosure.
Even if you didn't miss any payments?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to damage you. Yeah, for sure. We used to have a chart of those things, how each one, what kind of hit it takes. And I don't know if Andrew's on here or not. I haven't seen him, but he could probably
either way, he's willing to just take the bad ending now rather than chance that he won't ever have to. And even at the worst, even if we took it and then gave it back to him, he could just give it back to the bank then.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I said. I said, why do you
a sure fail right now instead of a maybe fail later?
Right. I said, why do you want to go ahead and take the worst possible outcome? I said, even if you were to do the deal with us and we failed at some point in the future, you would do then what you're just going to do now. He said, I've got to have finality, absolute closure. He said,
I can kind of understand that.
Yeah. And that's what I told him ultimately. Yeah. I said, I respect that. I totally understand. I said, I'll tell you what, we've talked a couple of times. You got my email, you got my number. Call me if you change your mind, because we hate to see your credit take that hit. You don't have to do that. We can put some money in your pocket. We can take care of this problem. But his agent caused that. His agent told him it was a scam, and he was interested when we first called him. He was interested.
And she said it was a scam, and apparently told him that you'll be wondering forever if they ever make your payments and all that kind of stuff. And she's like a big hitter agent too. So that again goes to show you that because you have a license and you've had it a long time doesn't mean you know anything.
That's right. Okay, let's see. Rafe has a question. What do you suggest when investing in a new area state with no physical presence? You're going to rely, Rafe, on professionals there. You need a mortgage broker, depending on what your model is. You need a mortgage broker. You need a really good real estate agent. And those are tough, man. Those are tough. They are out there, but you got to kiss a lot of toads.
You got to find a Charlie.
Yeah, that's right. You got to find a Charlie. You got to find somebody that's been around longer than 5 minutes. Somebody,
That's knows about investing and works with
right.
investors and mhm.
That's right. Um, and we talked to a lot of these agents here that have been in business 5 years, 6 years. They don't know anything but stick a sign in the yard, and guess what? Somebody else is going to sell it, and they're going to get their money. And they don't know what bad times are. But we did talk to a couple here that at least weren't hostile. And then, of course, you got somebody like Charlie that's been doing it for 40 years, that's seen a couple of cycles, that knows about creative finance, and when that's going to be popular again, you're going to see more of that, and you already are. I mean, this lady in Utah that we've been talking to for a couple of days, she's trying to sell $1 million house. It's in perfect condition, and she would sell it for a fact with owner financing for $50,000 down. But I believe she'll sell it on a lease option with a lot less. But we'll see. Okay. What would I do in a new area? If you don't have a presence there, you're going to need professional people. You're going to need people that can help you find houses. You're going to have connections, people that can show your houses if you're trying to sell them with seller financing. I would say you're going to need field agents that can go by and take pictures for you, people that can do boots on the ground stuff for you. And you're going to need marketing. And of course, and you'll hear a lot about this, Rafe, at the Mastermind, people talking about radio, because I think half a dozen of our students are doing radio right now and doing really well with it. So you'll hear a lot about that too. I think being able to negotiate a good rate is going to be important. But I'm telling you, when you do the math on the cost of radio, and Jodi and I already have, if we don't buy, I mean, right now our radio budget is $36,000 a year. If we don't buy but one house a year from radio, it's worthwhile. And we've already bought half a dozen or more just from radio.
At least 4 for sure. I can think of 4 or 5 this year.
So, I mean, our very first day running radio, we got a call that resulted in $71,000 payday. Very first day.
Well, that pays for 2 years of radio.
Yeah, if we don't buy another one, and we've already bought several.
Right.
So for sure. Contacts, man. If you're not there, you're going to have people to do stuff for you, for sure. Agent outreach. How do you determine offer price on agent property? Confused.
No, there are old coaching calls.
If the numbers make sense, Michael, some people have heard about our experiment we did last week. We pulled 15 listings. We pulled more than that, but we actually called, I think, 15 on properties that had been listed longer than 60 days, I think, because that's where we stopped it at. Longer than 60 days. One had been listed 283 days. And
that's a radio call.
No, it's not.
It's not?
That was the main number. I don't know who that was.
Okay.
That was probably Michael.
Yeah.
One had been listed 283 days. We called 15 agents. 4 of them either answered the phone or returned our call. The other 11 we haven't heard from yet. Even though we left a message that said, "Hey, my name's William. I'm calling about your house at 123 Oak Street. Very interested. Like to make an offer. Please call me." Who doesn't call that back? I'm telling you, agents, I'm being reminded more and more every day about why I've always felt the way I do.
11 out of 15.
An offer price, my offer is usually pretty dang close to full price. That's one of the carrots to get them to take it. We use PropStream. We use that to determine how much they owe, what their payments are. If those things make sense, Michael, then we can offer full price. There are going to be some variables in that thing. Let's say we're talking about a $300,000 house. And let's say that the owner bought it a couple of years ago. They owe $250,000. It's worth $300,000. I'll offer full price with enough down payment to cover the agent's commission and the closing cost. Okay. So let's say in this case, It's a $300,000 house. The agent's commission on that is going to be about $18,000, and then the closing cost is going to be another $2,000 or $3,000, probably not more than that. So I'll offer $25,000 down, and then ask the seller to take back a note for their other $25,000 in equity. Okay, so I'll put 25 in it. I'll
You need a
sell it.
whiteboard for this.
I'm sorry.
You need a whiteboard for this.
I know. I'll sell it with seller financing for $319. I'll be asking 30 down. I'll recover the 25 I put in the deal, put 5,000 in my pocket, and then if I can get $400, $500, $600 a month in cash flow, I'm good. So we can talk more about that on the coaching call tonight if you want to specifically. Yeah. I'll try to get a whiteboard hooked up.
Yeah, that's a little
right.
Detailed. We don't have time for all.
But they don't all make sense. But that was just a general idea of what we're running into. Difference between sub 2 and novations. I'm going to tell you, Kingsley, I don't. I've got an idea about what a novation is.
I think it's like a word that people use for different things sometimes, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It means different things to different people, so it depends.
Right. Right. So,
but in general, what do you think it is? Just
in general, I think it's where you partner with the seller. Let's say that you run into a seller, the house needs fix up, they've got some equity, they don't want to give it all away, they're concerned with that. And you say to the seller, hey, tell you what, let's partner on this thing. I'll fix your house up. It'll increase the value. We'll be able to get it sold. Pay me back for my renovation cost. We'll split the profit. They get the right to list on the MLS on the person's behalf. Well, I guess we do novations, but I don't call it that.
That's what I mean. I think it depends. I think different people have different definitions of it. So
I don't know. I don't know about that. We get houses under contract, and then we list the house on the MLS. We catch a lot of grief around here. Sometimes it depends on the agent again.
When I did it in Wisconsin, I didn't have any trouble with that.
Right.
As long as they knew you had an interest in the property, you were allowed to do it.
Right. And agents like Charlie understand that, but you get these Karens up here and they don't understand it.
Like, I think this town is packed with Karens here.
There was a big thread yesterday in a huge group that I'm a moderator in and that I contribute to, that where an agent came in there and just made this statement. I think wholesalers are crooks. They steal equity. It ought to be banned. Or
unethical.
Change my mind. And it was obviously a troll. But in an hour or two, I think there were hundreds of posts. And there's they just really verify what we already know. Agents have a problem with investors because
it turned into more of a wholesaler versus agent argument.
Right. And I said, listen, I'll play along. Some of the comments were, even from a couple of the one moderator in particular, were just uncalled for. You're posting anonymously your joke and stuff. I mean, listen, let's try to keep this thing civil. Why do you think and I'm not a wholesaler. I will wholesale a deal if it makes sense to do.
But I wouldn't characterize what we do.
No, I don't. I'm a real estate investor. I market for leads, and I have the knowledge to turn any lead that comes along generally into something. It's either a cash sale, it's a seller finance deal, it's a lease option, whatever it may be. Right. And that's part of being an investor. And
wholesaling is occasionally one of the things that we do.
Right, for sure.
But it's not our model.
Yeah, but that thing was just it was crazy, and they wound up deleting it, and I missed the last couple of hours, so I don't know what took place.
Well, I think it must have gotten kind of ugly because that happens a lot of times.
It must have. But when you call me, one of the agents said that what we do is theft of equity, and I said, so you think investors steal equity? I think when someone signs a few pieces of paper, sticks a sign in a yard, and then collects 6% at closing for doing not much more than that, then that's pretty thieving. That's exactly what I said. And
Except
they
Charlie.
and the guy said, and the guy said, um, well, if that's what you think agents do, you don't know any good ones.
And now there's truth to that. There are good agents who do a lot
Right,
more than that, but
right,
there's a lot that just don't do anything.
right. Well, most of them don't. They haven't had to. They haven't had to
Right.
work.
That's true.
And if you take an agent that's been around when times were hard, and I think we're going to see that.
Yeah.
We're going to start seeing that. A lot of them are already giving up their license now. And obviously, 11 out of 15 won't even return a message. Okay.
Of a possible offer. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like you're asking to, can you show me a house? You were saying, I want to make an offer on a house.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's the thing they should be jumping at.
Right. That's for sure. Yeah. Okay. So I think, let's see.
We're here now.
We're missing a lot of questions.
No, I'm catching them.
Alex, how do you make the radio ad? Did you hire someone or just do a 30-second spot where you explain what you do? Alex, you need to, on our YouTube channel, search for radio, and it'll pull up at least one or two Goat Talks podcast that I did with Randy Thomason, who is one of our students in Little Rock, who does a ton of deals.
And just for the short answer, William recorded it himself.
Right.
We didn't hire someone to do it. He just went to the radio station and recorded his own voice and did a 60-second spot.
Right. It's a really detailed step by step on how to do these things. There are only a few, I guess, rules, but you need to follow those very closely. And we've got a couple of students. I don't know if Ryan's still on here or not. That didn't. When they don't follow the model exactly, it just doesn't work out as well.
That's right.
And they changed it, and boom, results. So you've got to follow the guidelines in that. But I think,
and even in that YouTube video that we did, or the Go Talk with Randy, I mean, that's just a summary. Even that hour call with him is a summary. You probably need to do a lot more homework than that.
Right.
But that's a good start.
But we put most of the details in there on how to do it. I don't think we left much out. But again, you can come on here. We'll try to get Randy on here and a few of the students that are doing radio now.
Yeah, we just
that would be a good call to have. That would be a good.
Sonny.
Okay. They only know what they do. They're afraid to make a mistake or get in trouble with their broker. And I'm telling you,
that's a fact. If the broker or the board is really, ridiculous, but they are afraid.
But those brokers we talked to, the hot shots, man, they were talking about, well, we called our lawyer and we can't. Come on.
I know. And we worked with another agent too that was really willing to do everything, and their broker not only said he can't work with us, but nobody in the agency could work with us.
They sent out a memo to 300 agents about us. That's funny, man. We're big time now. We're big time criminals.
So again, he was afraid of his broker and the board and getting in trouble. So Charlie's right about that. There's some of them are just worried about it, and
right.
But we're actually talking about the ones that make those decisions. Like, they don't know either. The brokers sometimes don't even know. Well,
I'll tell you, and you and I talked about this yesterday. It's more about, and that came up in that thread yesterday, that when this guy said the NAR needs to do something about this. And I said, and that's really what it all comes down to. It's about money, because I don't know, you guys follow the news, and I've seen this several times, that 60% of the houses that are being bought right now are being bought by investors. The sales that are happening right now are large hedge funds. They're smaller investors like most of us on here.
I suppose because the homeowners are sitting back right now because of the rates.
Right.
And the investors are buying differently. So.
And when you're and see, that's the other thing that I didn't get when all of this was going on. And Charlie, he was involved in a couple of these transactions. He knows what he's talking about. We listed these things. We were letting them. What's the term that mafia guy used in The Godfather? You need to let me wet my beak. You know, implying that he needs a cut of everything.
Oh.
He needs to be involved. And we were doing that, man. We were letting the agents have a little
We
taste.
weren't cutting the agent out.
You know, but we did cut the agent out in going direct to seller because, you know, the sellers contacted us. But I believe that's really what it's all about. It's just about the money. You know, if think about, you know, if agents weren't in the marketplace, I mean, I'm not agents, but if investors weren't in the marketplace, the only way to get rid of a house would be to use a real estate agent. That would be the only way, because most people think it's too scary to sell it themselves. I think most people believe
it's like too complicated or something.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what else we got here? What is the reasonable dual agency commission rate to make an offer to an agent in case of sub-2 seller financing deals? The offer that we make pays 5%. We don't ask for much of a discount. I'm not trying to, you know, we had this conversation with a contractor yesterday. Listen, man, I'm not trying to starve you to death. I want you to make money too, but let's be fair. You know, we're going to be repeat customers. Okay. So give us, you know, a little bit of a discount. I think 5% is fair. Charlie can, as an agent, can come in here and tell us what he thinks. But I think if most agents are charging 6%, and you're going to be possibly a repeat customer, referral customer, then 5% is certainly fair. I mean, they would only get 3 if there was another agent involved. So yeah, I think so. What do you think? Jodi was a broker. What do you think about it?
About
5%.
I think that's fair. I mean, if you're getting both sides, that's more than fair. I mean, you're getting more than you would have.
Yeah. There are shady people everywhere, like people that might come back to a seller to ask them to make payments after closing on the property, for sure. Yeah. I mean, if that's your agreement with the seller and that's what you want to do, but what I find is that most sellers want to be done. They don't want to hear from you anymore. And I certainly don't want to hear from them. So I'm not going to ask them to do anything later.
Well, there's shady people in every aspect of the business.
Sure.
Or any business, actually. There's always shady people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charlie agrees with us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
I don't know what that means exactly.
The link for the radio ad.
What's the link?
Tyrell, you can go to our real estate website and listen to our ad. It's actually on there.
Our YouTube channel, yeah.
Yeah. We got it on the YouTube channel. I mean, it's on our website.
Plan B Props.
Yeah, planbprops.com. You can watch our,
I just add a little video to it. It's the radio ad with a little bit of pictures just added to it so it could be on the website.
Yeah. You see our testimonials from all of our customers that we stole their equity. What service do you use for skip tracing? We use IDI. IDI, right?
I think it's idicore.com.
Mm-hmm.
C-O-R-E. IDI-C-O-R-E.
Y'all excuse me, I got a foreclosure call here.
Is it really?
Yep.
Are you going to get it?
Hey, this is William.
Hi, is this William?
It is.
Hi, William. This is Nancy Medina, and I was hoping I can meet with you today. I've made a choice for us to go ahead and do this.
Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely, Nancy. What time are you and Marcus available?
We are available, I guess, now, if that's okay.
We're going to be tied up for the next couple of hours, but if it could be early this afternoon, we could absolutely do that.
Okay. Do you have all the paperwork from the court and everything?
We've got everything. Well, I mean, we would be ready to go if you guys are.
Okay. Can you see what his how can I put it? What he does? He's not in the military, right? He told me he's in the military. I don't know what's going on.
Marcus
I've
told
been
you.
married with him for like many years, and he's just telling me now he's in the military, and it's just weird.
Well, I'll tell
Do you know anything about that?
I don't, but I can pull that up and see if there's anything that's been filed on his behalf. They do have, sometimes they have some type of thing. Did you guys get a VA loan? I don't think you did. Well,
no,
I mean,
we gotta, that HO, what is it called? Because he's developed a lot of the paperwork.
Right.
Is it the HO loans or HOA loans or something like that?
An FHA. You got an FHA.
Oh, HA, that's what it is.
Right. Okay. No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if your husband said he's in the military, he probably is. I don't think he would mislead you, but he should have gotten a VA loan probably, because that would have kept you from putting anything down. It would have saved you a lot of money probably. But I'll tell you what, let me pull everything up and we'll take a look at it, and we'll have everything when we get there. Have you talked to him about it? He's okay with it? He's good to go?
I'd like for, you know what, I'll just call you back. I'm going to talk to him right now. I made up my mind about this now. I don't know. Can you tell if anybody's in the process of buying this house?
Nobody can buy it, Nancy, until nobody can buy it without your knowledge.
Right. But
right.
Say, what if I signed something that I didn't know I wasn't supposed to sign?
Well,
you know what I mean?
I don't know about you signing something that you weren't aware of. Of course, I would have no knowledge of that, but there wouldn't be anything. The house can't be sold without you. You're on title. Okay. So have you talked to Marcus? Is he on board with us proceeding with this?
We're just not agreeing, and at this point,
well, let's do this. Let's set an appointment. We'll come over. We can answer any questions that you guys have and explain to you exactly. I mean, we've got to start moving on this if we're going to do it anyway.
I know.
So we could probably be at your place about 1. Will that work for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Well, we'll be there at 1:00, and we'll just help you work through all this stuff, and we'll get it all squared away.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Sorry about that.
Hey, sorry about that, guys. I just
kind of like that.
Yeah, this is a deal we've been working with these people for the last couple of months. We met with them last week, and they're having some marital problems and some other things.
Yeah.
And,
we met with them a couple of days ago, and it was tense. They're not getting along too well.
Right. So it's complicated. But and when we talked to them last week, we told them, listen, we've absolutely got to take action on this by Wednesday, because their auction
is the 3rd, I think.
Yeah, their auction's the 3rd. So that's going to give us time to do everything we need to do and get them get moved, because they've obviously got to be out of the house. So we're going over there at 1 today.
And the fact that we're going to the mastermind in between, we got to get it going before we leave town. So.
Sure. Okay. So hope nobody minded listening to that. I thought somebody on here might find it beneficial. Okay. So, gosh, we got 5 minutes.
In action, right?
Huh? Yeah.
To go in action.
We really do this stuff, believe it or not. So, anyway. All right. Any other questions, guys? I don't know where we left off.
I don't either. I don't know. Let's see. Somebody asked what lead source that was. That was our foreclosure leads, where we dropped off our little foreclosure door drops.
We talk about door drops. We talk about getting face to face with people, and that's what we did. And that was a follow up. We got down to about 3 weeks out, and we had talked to her and dropped off a check that said, "Hey, we can pay you up to $50,000 for your equity right now," and that got them back on the radar.
And also the fact that it's pretty close to the auction.
Yeah.
And I think the husband kind of admitted that he was just burying his head for a while, and that now that it's really close, he's like, okay, I'm gonna try to figure this out.
Right.
I'm not sure what he wants to do yet. It sounds like he's still a little resistant, but anyway.
Okay. All right, guys. Any other questions? If not, we're going to spin this wheel. We've got 5 people that entered. Nobody wants our cups and notebooks.
I know. I don't think anybody's fun or shared today.
Hashtag shared. Let's see. Any other questions?
Maybe we need to get better prizes.
Maybe so. I don't know. I like our coffee cups. How do you handle the debt to income issue the seller will have in 2 to 3 years? Let me tell you something, Kingsley. Some people. Okay, let's take Nancy for example. Nancy's in foreclosure. She's 2 weeks from the auction. Nancy's not going to be able to buy a house for a while. Okay. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter whether we buy it or we don't. We're going to take over the payments on this house. We're going to start making them on time. We're going to make up the back payments, but we're going to help improve her credit. We're going to get things back on track.
Well, now her credit's in the garbage for sure.
And get going. But there are a lot of issues that determine whether or not somebody will be able to buy a house in a year or 2 or 3. What other debts do they have? What kind of credit do they have in general? What is their income like? Okay. What lender are they using? Some lenders are more lenient than others. The house we closed on last Friday, those people bought their new house while we were closing on this one. So they already had this other loan that was still out there. So it's going to depend on the individual.
But they had excellent credit.
They had excellent credit. They had the funds to do it. It's going to vary with individual. What we do is we can't guarantee them they can buy a new house in 2 or 3 years. Now, a couple of things could happen along the way. Our seller finance buyers could refinance, and this thing might be already paid off. If it's not, we will provide all of the proof that their new lender needs that we have been responsible for making those payments for the past 2 or 3 years.
And that's what we did with this last house too. We provided proof that we will be making the payments, so they allowed her to buy the new house.
That's right. So it's really just going to depend. That's not going to be an issue for everybody. Okay. So, don't make the promise that they'll be able to buy something else, because exactly what I tell sellers when they ask that question, am I going to be able to buy a new house? I say, Mr. Seller, I don't know. I don't know what your income's going to be in 2 or 3 years. I don't know how you're going to handle your other credit matters. I don't know if you're going to buy a new car, a new truck, or a boat. But we will provide your lender, when you're ready to buy, we'll provide all the proof they need that we've been making the payments. And we'll do everything we can to help you. But it's no guarantee.
Right.
All right. So, oh my God.
Michael, I'm a little behind on shipping. And I think I owe a couple other people a cup yet too. I have them set up. I just have to go get the labels and send them out. Sorry, I'm behind.
Yep.
Try to send the one that wins today. I'll send out all 3 of them.
Yep. Jody's been busy.
I've been busy.
All right. So if we don't have any other questions, everybody's entered. We're going to spin the wheel, and then we're going to go see our contractor. Y'all pray for us. We got 2 new contractors doing work on this house. Whew, man, I'm not a rehab person, I'll tell you for sure. But anyway. All right. So we're going to spin the wheel. Let me find the right buttons here. Share the screen. And here's the
spinner.
The giveaway tool. All right, here we go. Last chance. Hashtag shared. That'll get you in. 3, 2, 1. We're drawing.
We got at least 30 people on here, and we only got 6 people sharing. Nobody wants our cup.
Joyce.
Joyce.
All right.
Before, did she?
Joyce is our latest winner that Jodi wants to prize out. So
I will send it soon. I promise.
It's going out. So All right.
Okay, where's that little?
All right, Joyce, congrats. Send us either message one of us. We're friends on Facebook, or
No, don't do that, because that gets lost in the messages. Send
your
an email.
information to
office@sub2deals.com.
office at
I
sub.
think I have a little banner for that.
Oh, do you? A banner? Okay, maybe so.
I don't. Maybe I'll find it here.
All right. Jeff, what was that lead? Did Jeff ask about the lead source?
I'm not sure.
Uh,
The page now.
I think we answered that question.
There
That
it is.
was okay.
That's
Office
right.
at
Send name and address to office@sub2deals.
right. Okay. All right. I think that's everybody. We have any other questions? We're going to get out of here. We got to go check out our. That's right. Charlie said we are problem solvers. Prospects have different types of problems. Okay, Alex said answering the call was awesome. All right, great. Glad you guys enjoyed that. You see, there's nothing that I do any different. I try to reassure people that we can handle it. We can take care of it. If they've got some problems or worries, if you noticed during the call, she said, I'll tell you what, I'll just call you back later. But I wanted that appointment. I want to get in front of those people. I want the opportunity to, show them that we're going to take care of the situation.
Also, when somebody calls from your marketing, answer the phone, even if you're in the middle of a live stream.
That's right. Answer the phone.
Answer it almost above everything, because it could mean a lot of money.
Now, I didn't answer the call earlier. That was to our main office number. And who has that? Contractors, people that do work for us, things like that.
Not sellers.
Because that pops up on the phone when they call foreclosure, because they're calling certain numbers. That's one reason lead tracking is so important.
Or radio.
Right. A radio will come up, foreclosures, agents plan B. That's an agent that's calling us. So we know when it's super important to answer the phone. All right. We got to get out of here.
I know we're way over.
We're way over. Appreciate you guys that hung out with us. We appreciate y'all a bunch. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and watch our videos. And wish us luck on our appointment today. We'll tell y'all all about it.
We're contractors today.
We're not going to be here next week. We're going to be on the road going to Gatlinburg. Yep. So we'll miss y'all next week, but we'll be back the following week. So take that banner down, Jodi. All right, guys. Okay. We'll see y'all next time. Get out there and talk to some sellers.
And buy some houses.